Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. I know we're all connecting. We'll give a couple of minutes for people to come in and then we'll get started. If you want to put into the chat your name and where you're calling in from, please be our guest. We're very excited to have you all join us.
Hi, I feel as if my mute is now turned off and my video is turned on. So I'm going to take this opportunity to introduce myself. And my name is Chisa Hodge, and I'm calling from Newark, New Jersey, through the Greater Newark Conservancy. And we have a great program called the Coalition for Healthy Food in Newark Schools. And thanks to Newman's own foundation, we've been able to initiate something called Snacks within our school districts, which stands for Student-Led Nutrition Advisory Councils.
Oh, thank you so much. So much. It's lovely to meet you. For everybody else, please do that in the chat as we're going to get started. That would be great. Um, and I'm already seeing a number of messages. Okay, and I think we are probably good to get started. We want to maximize the time that we have with Cheyenne River Project. We're so delighted that you are all joining us today. Very quickly about the foundation. Many of you know this, but we were Newman's Own Inc. was founded in 1982 by Paul Newman and A. Hotchner. And something pretty cool is that 100% of the profits and royalties from the sale of Newman's Own product go to the foundation in service of our mission, which is to nourish and transform the lives of children who face adversity. And since 1982, Paul and Newman's Own has donated $600 million to good causes. And some of this is to Cheyenne River Youth Project, who's been a fantastic grantee partner since 2021. Any other slides that I should introduce, or shall I pass it on to you, Jackie?
Yes, I can take over. Alex, thank you so much for giving the welcome. So Sam, we can move on to the next slide. So I wanted to just share for those of you that may are guests and may not know, our mission is to nourish and transform the lives of children who face adversity. And our three key priority areas are Indigenous food justice, nutrition education, and school food. And I think many of you have probably heard of the first two former grantee partners, but they're pretty self-explanatory, especially with Cheyenne River Youth Project being one of our grantees, and they're going to share their work today around food justice. But just to touch a little bit on the Serious Fun Children's Network, Serious Fun Children's Network was founded by Paul Newman, and it really empowers kids who face serious medical challenges, and it's to help them find joy, so and discover, a sense of belonging and just reimagine what's possible. So I just wanted to give a little plug for that as part of our priorities at Newman's Own Foundation. So we'll move on to the next slide. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome the Cheyenne River Youth Project for this virtual site visit. In honor of Native American Heritage Month, we wanted to uplift this grantee partner, which Alex has shared, has been a grantee with us for the last 4 years, and really allow them to share their story around their food justice, food sovereignty projects and programs at their organization, but also just give us a little insight into their other programming. And I will now introduce Julie Garreau and Jerica Widow Jones to go ahead and do their introductions. Thank you, ladies.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Julie Garreau. I am the founder and CEO of the Cheyenne River Youth Project. So I have been with this wonderful, beautiful organization since its very birth, which makes me very happy. We do a lot of really great things, which Jerica is about to tell you about. So I am a member of the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe, born and raised on this reservation, and just has been blessed doing this incredible work, working with kids for a very long time. So I'll move to Jerica.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jerica Widow Jones. I'm an enrolled member of Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. I'm an Ikoju Lakota. I've been with the organization for 12 years, and it's just been a really great journey and honor to work for our youth. I'm the program director, and pretty much within our programming, in charge of implementing the programs, working with volunteers, recruiting, making sure that our program assistants have the tools and training to carry out the programs that we plan for. And of course, working in our big, beautiful garden and our plant relatives. So I'm very happy to, show you guys different parts with a lot of pictures, some videos, and just tell you guys some of the story of CRYP and our Wea Tokawi garden. Thank you. So, today, if you guys, this is just a portion of Cheyenne River Youth Project. So, but it's also a very crucial part of Cheyenne River Youth Project. We'll kind of go into the history, which takes us back into 1988. We'll go over all the campus. You'll see pictures and just learn about the different names of all the buildings and the rooms. And also go into food sovereignty. There's a lot of different programs that get plugged into food sovereignty and that also utilize the produce that we do grow each summer. Julie will also come back on and she will talk about our Bear Butte purchase. And she'll kind of go into some more info and some how-tos and whys in that area. And we'll just take some questions later on and we'll be able to answer. We also put our emails in the other slide, but if you do need it, we will, put it in the chat and you'll have other times to get in contact with us if that's what you wish. And yeah, let's get into the history. So first and foremost, the black and white picture that you'll see on the right of your screen, that is the original main building on Main Street here in Eagle Butte. Mind you, Eagle Butte is, the headquarters of Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. And, this was probably at the beginning, of the street. And it was a bar called the Little Brown Jug before it became the main. Julie put in a bid with the tribe so she could turn it into a youth center, just a better, starting viewpoint when you come into our town. And it basically, had volunteers living in there. The activities went on. There's a big yard around the building that we had kids, doing different activities. They came from all different parts of housing developments around Eagle Butte. They were mostly, ages 4 through 18 or 4 through 12 actually. And you'll see in some of the pictures below too, there was a lot of kids. Julie was a volunteer for many, many years. I think it was 10 to 12 years, I believe. During the day, she would pretty much, work her tribal job and as the tribal education director. And, it was just, it was pretty, interactive. There was a lot of kids she's still in touch with today, kids who bring their own kids to our main youth center. So it was very generational as well. Very happy that they're able to, have that security to be like, I could drop my kids off here, or, I know they're going to be in good hands at this specific place. So can we go to the next slide? And, as the main, it's a pretty small building at the beginning, the Little Brown Jug. And we had to add on, we had so many kids coming. Kids were aging out, becoming 13, becoming teens. So next, it's pretty cool, like how we have created different pathway buildings for all of our kids. So the little brown jug, the original main building, again, was too small. So there was a fundraiser for the next building, which is here just next to the building I'm in right now. And that's the new main, which was you can see on the picture the green building just right beside the garden rose you'll see. And that's the main. It's pretty much um, has an activity room. There's a bunch of different rooms that we, um, accommodate to the kids. We also, in every building that we do have, we want to have spaces for the volunteers who come because that's what we were founded on is the heart of volunteerism and that, there are kids meeting people from other places, cultures, and, they love that. They love being able to see people from these spaces they only see on TV. Um, and it gives them, the biggest hope that they could probably be introduced to that there is so much more that they could do. That building was built in 1999. And as we started again to get more kids aging out, there was a really big push in the community to talk with the teens across the reservation. They went into the schools and did surveys of what, the kids would want to see in a new building specifically for teens. And they, pretty much said everything they could under the sun that seemed fun: an arcade, a swimming pool, a racetrack. I think there was even an arcade room, a place that they could get on the computers. And from there, we broke ground in 2004 and officially opened up the building of the Chokadawi Choni Teen Center, which does translate into the center of life, the two beginning Lakota words, and that opened in 2006. And it's a pretty big building. This is where we're pretty much all based on and working in. It's the maroon and tan building. We'll go more in depth of, I guess, what's in all of the buildings. But there's a lot of rooms, and they are pretty much, to this day, they are still used actively with a lot of different programs. Um, uh, and it's pretty much, we have all of our staff being able to take care of these two buildings. It's no one person job at all. Um, and I think just like the programs are, staff are pretty much intertwined in, everything um, that we do here. We are all cooks. Funny story, we just had a ramen bar last night, so it was pretty funny for all the little kids to get on and put all their little toppings in. So definitely enjoy being able to wear many hats, and I know I can speak on that with my coworkers as well. So all of these buildings are pretty much in spaces, I will say, are being upkept by staff, our kids too. Um, Within that same building, we do have the Kea Cafe gift shop, which is an initiative that helps farm to table style foods for the kids, for the community. We had um, the coffee shop, which isn't open right now, um, since probably 2022, I believe. The pandemic was pretty hard on that business, and also our just our workforce is pretty difficult to hire a long-term person within that area. But it was a very loved program. Kids were able to learn how to, make specialty drinks. They were also able to, help in a little bit of some cooking, some kitchen safety training, customer service, how to do inventory. And they really enjoyed that job, being interactive with customers and having their families, come in and be able to see their kids or their grandkids in that role, and you know, just making those people feel proud too. So it was a really good place for kids to start their customer service careers. We also have a gift shop, which is just within the same building. We also have an e-store to that gift shop. So we also support local harvesters who they do harvest like our wild teas like Cheyaka, wild berries like choke cherries, sand cherries, buffalo berries, which are grown mostly by waterways and creeks. So um, the also local artists too. We have kids who have grown up here their whole time and also pretty much, you know, come back and try to, you know, promote their artwork, painters, beaters, people who make ribbon skirts, seamstresses. So it's just a big array of people who come and put their artwork into our gift shop, which is pretty cool. Um, Later on in 2014, you will also see there's a big open space by the teen center with a perimeter of wall panels, and that is what is now the Waniati Woapi Art Park, which translates into the winter count. And it is the most beautiful place with pretty cool uh, murals in it right now. The space I'm sitting in, what I love about that space too, and I think people go in to still see it before the construction, but there's this wall panel and it has a big printed eyes and they're so beautiful. So they're just directly within my viewpoint of my office. So I really enjoy seeing that part of it. Um, the art park is pretty much a permit-free area for our Red Can event, which we won't do a lot of talking about today, but on our website you're able to see more information about that. And kids, you know, are very interactive in there too. There's also a lot of feeding areas and plants growing in there that are, you know, feeders for our bees that are in there right now. We'll also talk about that later. Um, so it's just a really great space with a lot of murals in there. And that changes every July. Um, we also, what was the other one? Well, also, this is part of the teen center. If you'll see, we have actually a lot of rooms, I will say. Um, Today and also this week, we want to fully, I guess, just transition into our fall session or into our fall programming. So today we don't have any kids, but also we can talk about our next area would be, of course, the garden. Can you go to the next slide, please? Um, so this is the new build, or this is the new main, but it's also a really good starting point for our food sovereignty initiatives. If you do see, there is a lot of kids who do come here, 4 to 12-year-olds. They still come, they still walk here, ride their bikes, ride their scooters. You'll see a group of 3 cousins. One's on the back, one's sitting on the bike seat, and the other's on the top of the handlebars. And it's quite funny because they'll get here any which way they can. Um, but basically, you know, the main we want to, it's also incorporated into food sovereignty. It's making sure that these young kids, you know, as they're younger and growing and taking in so much information, that they are at a point where they go into the garden to help anything from, you know, weeding, harvesting. They love harvesting the little cherry tomatoes. They're very interested and weary about eggplants. They'll put any leaf in their mouth, but that's also a good thing and a good teaching moment as well. We had a little girl, she put mint in her mouth and she was like, it burns, it burns. Um, but it was quite funny. Later she found out what that plant actually was. So um, and she was pretty surprised how, you know, how mint, where it really came from. Um, So yeah, little tidbits like that and experiences really as they're learning, it makes things not feel like learning. You'll see in some of these different areas, we have programs like Maine University, different arts and crafts, interactions with different volunteers. And they basically, are out there all the time. We have tower feeders now or tower planters right now. So even in non-growing seasons, they're able to have those food sovereignty efforts in their building. And they really do well with the vegetables, believe it or not. So very thankful that they are adaptable. Can you next slide, please? Right now we'll watch a little video. I think it was last year we did have a couple of the Newman's own comms people and they were able to come out to our garden and interview the kids. So it's about a 4-minute video. And I think it's available on both, probably just on YouTube, but yeah, it's pretty accessible to find. And these are a lot of just the teens, I believe. You'll see some little kids in there here and there, but yeah, we can get to watching them.
I would say, without a doubt, my mother was a visionary. She understood that reclaiming our food systems was necessary for us to move forward, to grow, to create a healthy generation of Lakota people.
We were forced to live on reservations where we were dependent upon commodities and food rations.
Most of the USDA stuff, my generation, a little bit older, they're considered rations and they were really good for you.
I love it. Connecting with my ancestors, learning how they made stuff, learning how they cooked, learning what they cooked, basically.
very therapeutic. I think the kids really enjoy it. They, exactly get to see the fruits of their labor.
It's kind of exciting to know that my mom's legacy, her vision, is still playing out today. I'm very proud to say that I continue to carry on that tradition. I know that she is looking at us and saying, way to go, because she knew. She knew something none of us knew.
So,
Would you prefer to have a one-on-one interview?
I think was the last. Okay. Um, so we do have, we'll go in depth, I guess just talking a little bit more about what you guys heard on the video. Um, it's honestly, the internship, the interns that do work in the garden is pretty much remarkable. They started in 2013 with about 10 interns. And they are paid for these internship hours, and they are uh, able to, work in different areas. There was a time where they all just, a specific kid just wanted to work with tomatoes. A specific kid wanted to grow the peppers. Um, it's just very interactive, from weeding, like I said, all the way to harvesting to processing, different versions of processing, from just freezing them to canning to dehydrating and freeze drying, which was pretty cool. Some of the kids recently made onion powder. Um, so cool, and I think they were pretty surprised by how easy it was to make, or the process of it too. So and we are actually in our 50th year of growing food since 1975. We had a small but very intimate celebration during our harvest festival in October, just celebrating the work of, Julie, her mother, the initiatives and the visionary that they want to carry out. And we basically fed the community with all different types of produce dishes. And it was a pretty big hit. We had almost 200 community members come. And we also gave them just infos about different recipes that they could use, because I mean, I feel like in our community and even with us, we can give out as much food as we want to, but in order for them to use it and utilize it and realize how much this food and these plants are medicine, then we're only meeting them halfway. So recipe cards were given, and we were teaching, of course, the kids are the biggest influencers in the homes by, taking all the information they learn here and bringing it back, being those active people in those households that carry out what we teach them. And it is grown to be about a three and a half acre garden. We have 2 garden sheds. There is a hoop house. We have a greenhouse in the middle of redoing our root cellar as well. 45 different varieties grown. And that always changes too, based on, what we're trying to make and preserve for the year. This year, I think we grew, I believe, 3 to 4 more rows, which are about 50 feet long, of tomatoes, because we found that we are just using more tomatoes. We made barbecue sauce, ketchup. So you'll see some of the kids here too. We have a farm stand where we basically, give away the produce that we do have. And they're able to make some of the meals and the snacks for not only the teens, but for the little kids as well. Can you go to the next slide, please?
And Jerica, can you, as part of the internship program, can you tell us a couple of unique things about the program that it entails as you go through this slide?
Yeah, I would say one of the things that, typical internship programs I think use, westernized careers to basically promote, and we want kids to know that, you can, carry out into your life, being a gardener, a food sovereignty farmer, um, a cook, cooking indigenous foods, being an indigenous business owner, an art, full-time artist, preserving your language, working as a teacher, working with little kids. Also, very importantly too, is working on our 4 areas of wellness, in order to, really have a good full life and be able to also within all those different areas, find your identity, refind it. um Boarding school era, we were stripped of everything, so this is kind of putting everything back and taking those strips, remaking it, um and trying to, rebuild our kids to be proud to be, Lakota youth, and, from the Ocheti Shakoi, and a really good background, good solid background with adults that they know that are safe, and spaces that they know that they could practice, and be able to have their voices being heard about what they want to have in programming as well. um
Hmm.
and you'll see some space or some pictures here. We're making hand drums. The young girls were making salads for our cafe. Spray painting, which is pretty popular, putting different murals up. We also have different camping trips that they go on as well, just as like an end of internship um, field trip that they can learn how to do different camping stuff, like, having a safe fire, being able to climb up Bear Butte, um, identifying plants out, by Black Hills we didn't know about too. They also have very we have core skills that they learn, like CPR, first aid. Um, we will also go about different cooking demos too. You'll see in the pictures we have a chef from Rapid City, I believe, and he was cooking some very, very unique meals. I think we had like a beet carrot salad, and some, I believe it was like apple vinaigrette, and it was just all these flavors that came into one, and the kids really appreciated that, to learn how to incorporate all the produce that they get and see within different um the stores, how you can make it into something really good. It's not just for eating one way. um
Jerica, was there any difficulty getting them to try different fruits and vegetables that they may not have seen before?
In the beginning, yes. Brussels sprouts are like aliens to them, and like I said, the eggplants was pretty funny because it was they're like, why is it purple? So yeah, and it took years of being able to just put it out there, um, and getting them used to it, and getting that voice in their head to say it's yucky. Um, but another fun part, we'll move on into beekeeping, which I'm so excited about. Yeah, basically last year in 2024, we started our beekeeping journey by purchasing one colony and putting it in our garden, which did really well. We already had some pollinator plants growing in the area. So that wasn't the issue, but going on the journey of, feeding them at the beginning with our sugar water, um, checking on them when we should be, and making sure that, because we're in the middle of a community, that we had a lot of signs out, making sure that the kids knew um, how to be around them as well, especially us too. Um, and we, got up to 40 pounds of honey. And it's a pretty cool thing that, the kids want to work with them, and the kids are very comfortable putting on the bee suits. They're all out there, in that picture. Um, just just connecting in a different way. We've had plants for so long, and to have these little beings with the queen, it's just been pretty cool to see. And you could see it in our garden, how much how much they make it, they make it better. So I'm very excited, and we still continue to, add more colonies. I think we have 12 now. So we'll see a lot more production of honey over the next couple of years. So Julie will come back onto this one. But I do want to.
I'm here.
All right, Julie, take it away.
Hey, there you go. I'm sorry, I'm getting over bronchitis, but I saw that there was a question when somebody asked how many of our kids actually come back to the program. And I would say a really good number of them come back to work with us. We have people who used to be interns who are now employed with us, but we also created a youth employment initiative that launched like last maybe January of 2024. And so these are kids who work part-time. They're paid, I'm not sure exactly. I don't remember, Jerica, what their salary is, but they're paid to put in hours. So it's a training program. And these are a lot of kids who have come through. I think they're required to come through the internship program.
Yeah.
And then that makes them eligible to apply for the Youth Employment Initiative. So I don't know if that answers the question that I was just reading, but I wouldn't say it's a high percentage, but I think it's a good number of kids who come back and apply and want to work here. Again, I think that all these spaces that we've created, which was really a necessity because, I mean, I think most of you probably know, like by design, the reservations were empty with nothing, no food source, nothing to, it just was meant to kind of, I think, kill us as a people. So everything on the reservation that we have to build. So the Cheyenne River Youth Project has done that. And in the earlier part of Jerica's presentation, you saw all the spaces that we have had to create. So we've become very good at learning as we've moved through these years about what we need to do. And we're currently in the process of building that Arts and Culture Center, which is a net zero facility, solar and geothermal. So like we really do try to make sure that we're taking care of the land while we're taking care of kids, and also really working to reclaim culture and language as much as we can. So this slide is really one of the most exciting things for me now. So the cool part about my job is that I still get to, 37 years later, I get to dream and vision and imagine and just think about what more we can do for our kids. So in February, I think of 2024, we had been working with the owners of some property out near Bear Butte, and you guys can see that teepee, and you can see that in the sunset. So there was a family there that they wanted to sell 40 acres, almost 40 acres. And we had been working with them for quite a few years. They had come out and they had taught in our garden. They had taught us about, soil and that kind of thing. So we had a relationship with them. So when the time came, when they had this property to sell, they really wanted to work with us on it because what might have become its use might have been developed into a housing project. And I think all of us who are Indigenous, and especially those of us who find that Bear Butte is one of our sacred spaces, who would want that to happen? So we worked very hard. The CRYP team worked very, very hard to raise the money, and we didn't have any grant money. So we had to raise all of it. And I would say that over the years, we have become very good at making banana bread and having it in taco sales and just doing whatever we need to do. We really felt like we needed to do this on our own. So I think there was one grant that helped us with just the very end of it, maybe like $50,000 towards the end of it. But we raised it through our own means so that we could take control of it, acquire it, steward it. And that's really what we want to do. The motivation, however, is that, the Cheyenne River Youth Project, we are about 3 hours from Bear Butte, one of our sacred spaces. And so when we would take the kids, we would have to take 2 or 3 vans. We would have to drive 3 hours. We would have to climb Bear Butte. which I mean that's a hike, it's a good hike. And then when we came down, we'd find someplace to eat, and by then it was already getting late and we had to return home. This way, we now have access to this property where we can camp, and we often go out and we put up our teepees and we spend weekends or, during the week there. And the kids we will also sometimes go up to Wind Cave, which is our creation story. We also go over to Devil's Tower and we hike there. But basically, it just gives our kids access to the Black Hills, which is their land, and it is their ancestral homelands, and they should have access to it. But as it stood, we just don't. It's very difficult to get out there. So this was a kind of a dream that I had, and when the opportunity came available to us, I asked my staff. I said, "What do you guys think about it?" And the enthusiasm was definitely there, and they really love it. And we're working at developing it so that maybe our supplies, we don't have to haul them every single time. But really recently, this past summer, we went out, and it was just one of those really plains storms. The wind, the rain, the dark clouds, the lightning. It was crazy weather. And we had a film crew with us, and they're like, "Well, Julie, you have to take care of the kids, so we're not going to burden you with us. So we're going to go get a hotel room." So they left us, and our kids were not afraid of any of it. Our teepees, they withstood the elements, and I think they got maybe just a little bit of rain, but the other tents were just completely like pushed down. But our teepees stood, they stood tall and they stood strong, and the kids were just like, "This is just the way it's supposed to be." And we have so many examples of kids saying, like, "I wish I didn't have to go home. Like I did everything I wanted to do this summer in one weekend." So the impact we see and we feel when we're out there. But I think the other beautiful part is that the staff are coming along with us, or with the kids. So it's not about just them, it's about all of us as a Lakota people. So it's our newest initiative. It is one of our, I think everything that we do at CRYP is just so grounded in taking care of our young people and our community and reclaiming culture and language. And so Bear Butte, when the opportunity arose, just seemed like it was a no-brainer at all. And I feel so good about having been a part of that. And when I go out there, I am just completely tickled by these kids just engaging, and we're finding medicines again. And we did get a small grant from, I think forgive me, I think it's like the Trust for Public Lands, I think, a small grant. So we did retain a landscape architect who's going to help us like really just reclaim the land, plants and medicines. Even though we're finding some of those things out there, our goal is to make sure that we plant more, because it's just a huge education space. But we want choke cherries, we want turnips, we want all those plants and medicines. And, it's just this big, beautiful, classroom for our kids. And I'm so excited in that, and what I wouldn't have done to have that access as a young person. So, and, the one thing I think about the Cheyenne River Youth Project is we know a lot about kids. We've been doing this for a very, very long time. We've made our mistakes. We've also grown. The one thing I think that makes me happiest when I hear kids talk about why do we go to CRYP, I think what makes me happy is they say it's safe. It's a safe space.
That's
and when you
beautiful.
feel safe, you take the time, then you can like open your heart and your mind to learning, and just feeling like, okay, I can grow here. So I think safety is such a huge piece of this cultural reclamation, and we do understand it's land back. And if you get the opportunity to watch our film, I think it's really important you do that. And I hope other tribes, I hope everybody gets the opportunity like we did to do. Oh, you're gonna watch it
Yeah,
right
Julie,
now?
it's such a beautiful
Why
video.
not?
We want to share
I
a
think
couple
it's
minutes
awesome.
of the video, but we are going to share the
Do
link
it.
in the chat. So perfect
Yes,
segue.
you should
Thank you,
do it.
Julie.
Yes, great.
Okay,
Absolutely. Thanks for inviting me, you guys.
absolutely. Thank you.
How many of you have ever been to Wind Cave? Have you ever been to Mato Tipila? They call it Devil's Tower. Well, those are all the places we're gonna go this weekend if you do come on the trip.
So learn your history and take it with you, or when you're there, to start thinking about how you can bring honor back to yourself through what you're doing, these actions, and create some memories.
Thank you so much, Sam, for doing that for us. I'll turn it back to you, Jerica.
So we will go to our youth employment initiative. Like I said earlier, in the presentation, that we do have kids who are actively working for us. And this is a step up from the internship program. So the interns, they get on the job training up to 50 hours, but these kids are working for us from a certain time. Usually it's like 6 months. We have had some kids who were here a little bit longer, and they partake in trainings as well, but a little higher and in depth and more tailored to CRYP, to some of the positions that we have, and also just catering to what they want to be and what they're good at, which I think is really unique, and a really booster for them as well, to be able to hone in on those certain skills that you have and be able to utilize them.
I think
These are
that's
three
great,
different
Jerica.
cohort. Yeah, these are three different cohorts that we do have. So right now we do have these 6 that are currently working with us. And it's been a really fun journey to see them, take initiative and just be leaders within their own small group, and wanting to, work with younger kids as well. So
Definitely. Well, Jerica, with the time we have left,
Mhm.
let's move to Q&A.
Mhm.
We have about, I'm going to say about 8 minutes left. So if anybody has any questions, you can feel free to come off mute. Or if you're a little bit shy, you can just post it into the chat. So does anybody have any questions for Jerica? Well, I can kick us off just to get
Mhm.
everyone started. So, Jerica, can you tell us, do you partner with, how do you partner locally, like with the tribe or
Mhm.
with organizations? And
Mhm.
do you work with any schools?
Yeah, we definitely just recently, I think this happens a couple times a year, but we do go to the schools and do presentations. We tried an internship within the school. So basically we went in and taught for like a period or two, and that was pretty successful. I think we want to go back and reconnect with the staff that did help us get into the schools. Other partners, we work with other youth services as well. We have Sacred Heart. They also are pretty confidential with their kids, and I think this is the right place to bring them for that, in order for them to keep that confidentiality.
Great, thanks. And the connection to the tribe, do you work with any of the tribal programs? Like what's that connection directly to
Yeah,
the
most
tribe?
recently we have had we work with our youth affairs program. They pretty much come in and help us with like monetary prizes in general, but also just, being there to help us, carry out different sports things, volleyball camps, basketball camps. We also will partner with our youth diabetes program. So they are coming in to kind of teach the kids and do little presentations with them. So very glad to start, new partnerships too. So.
Looks like we have a question in the chat.
Mhm.
What are some recent challenges CRYP has encountered in And how are you problem solving for those?
Do you mind if I answer that, Jerica?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
think
Julie.
Yeah.
sure, yeah, no, I'm still here. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah, so I think most recently, I think our challenges have been just with like the political climate across the country. And so, we made the first 100 days and we thought we were probably going to be okay, but then we lost quite a bit of funding. And CRYP doesn't generally take federal dollars. We did accept funding through the NEA. For some reason, I don't know, I suppose naively, but I just thought NEA was always going to be there. But then we got hit with some big cuts for our programs and some initiatives that we had moving, that we had to just really quickly adjust to. So those are, I think, some big challenges. I think one of the challenges, of course, currently is, a lot of our people already struggle with food insecurity. So the lack of SNAP has really elevated that. Our young kids we've always fed our kids after school snacks and then evening meal before they go home. Many of the kids will make sure that they eat before they head out the door. It's a really important part of it. So I think this elevated level of food insecurity is very concerning to me. But I think as a nonprofit, just in general, always making sure that you have, enough to continue the work that we're doing it's always a challenge, right? That's like a nonprofit. That's the life that we have chosen. But, the one thing that we never are, there's never a shortage of kids. We always have kids. We always have families to serve. And I think the one thing, and probably Jerica already said this, but I think it's just really crucial to understand that when we serve our relatives. So the same people that we serve during the day are the same people we go home to at night. There's really no separation. So it's a very personal work, kind of work that we're doing here at home for our relatives, for us, for the community. So I think it's the challenges are great. I mean, and the challenges go back to even just being on the reservation, the distances, the cost of gas. I mean, there are many. But I would say that the current political climate has made things, made life a little bit harder. But, I think that our team is committed. There's just no doubt about that. When we get hit with a challenge, we come together and we figure out what are we going to do next. It's a very much a team approach. So I'm very proud to say that about my staff.
That's wonderful to hear. Do we have anyone that has that's on that have any questions they want to ask? Because I have questions. I always have questions to ask. Well, I'll go with my question. So with the food sovereignty, food justice work at your organization, either Julie or Jerica, what do you think to the youth? What is the most meaningful to them in the programming? What do you see them really drawn to?
I mean, I think that I would say again, I mean, I think that, any person, any human spirit, I think that you really can't like get past a lot unless you feel like you feel safe, you feel supported, you feel grounded in, and I think those are the things that CRYP does really, really well. Because then I think then they come in, they enter our doors, they know they can count on us, whether that's, hey, Jerica, I need a winter coat. And if we have it, we'll give it. I need winter shoes and boots. If we can do that, we will do that. So I think that's a huge part of what we bring to this community for our kids. We bring them a safe, healthy space. All of our staff are very much committed to, just giving them that kind of support system that all kids really should have. So I mean, in a nutshell, I would say, the programming, but also just the safety net that we offer kids. A place to be a kid is just so important. And so I think we do that, and we do that very well.
Yeah. To add on to that, I had said earlier, the kids they're the biggest influencers when they go back to their families because they're the ones doing the work. That most of our kids live with, their elderly grandparents, people who just don't have that knowledge yet, and they go back into these homes and they're that voice within their homes, which, in general, that makes them feel like they belong there. They have, that decision making within their family. even here talking to us, giving us, thumbs up or down on programming and being able to listen to them about, what they want, having journals, having feedback and surveys, it's all of their voices put into our programming each day in different parts of our initiatives too.
And I know that you guys have to go soon, but I will tell you a quick story. One of the kids, he said, he came up to me and I was visiting with somebody else and he was very comfortable coming up and said, "Hey, Julie," he said, "my grandma wants to know if you have any zucchini bread." And I was like a whole loaf or just a slice? And he's like, "Yeah, that'll be good." So I think it was a whole loaf. And it just so happened we had made some fresh zucchini bread and I had frozen it. And when we cook, when we bake, it's gargantuan sizes. So I said, "Yeah." So I went to the freezer and I pulled them out, like it must be like a foot long, at least 6 inches high, of zucchini bread. And he took it home. But I love that. I love that they can ask. They feel good about asking. There's no judgments, just support. And I think that that's important.
It is. It definitely is. Well, thank you so much. I just wanted to quickly acknowledge, I don't know, is it Johnny or is it Joni?
Johnny.
Johnny, thank you so much for commenting in the chat about your son and how your son's a product of CRYP. That's really awesome to hear. And I also want to acknowledge Stephanie, who said, she was just appreciative of everything you've shared today and that it's truly inspiring. And as others, the Kate, she also shared a really amazing work and she feels so honored to sit and learn from you all. So thank you so much for taking the time. I know you have your meetings all week with your staff, Julie and Jerica, so we really appreciate you taking that time out. And lastly, I just want to share for those of you that are not part of the NOI and NOF team, if you haven't yet, sign up for our Radically Good newsletter. We have tons of information that come out about our grantees, like Cheyenne River Youth Project. And then in the early 2026, we will have an open call for grant applications for Indigenous food justice and nutrition education in school food. So you can find that in our newsletter, but we'll also be announcing that in early 2026. And then lastly, I just want to give a shout out for one of our projects, the Indigenous Tomorrows Fund, who we are partnering with Native Americans in philanthropy. We just completed a successful pilot this year in 2025, and the program will continue in 2026 for any communities and organizations that are working in food justice and health and wellness for communities. So watch out for more information on that this next year.